Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
John Solomon is really great. I read his stuff, I listen to him, but I'm a very shallow person, so I like John even more now because the only time he was on with me was a couple of weeks ago, and he unprovoked voluntarily said that his whole family loves me. So I said, good, get him back on. Here he is, my friend, John Solomon.
It's true. They listen every morning to you, Sid.
You are great. You really are.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. I'm not sure if you guys heard my interview with President Trump yesterday, but we did. Oh, you did? Okay, so you know that we did every major story going on. I did. He gave me 40 minutes, and I still had about an hour of stuff to get to. I don't know, John, how he does it. This guy, He's got 90 things going on at once.
It is an amazing thing. He doesn't rest. He is always working, always on. And he's told me, in our private conversations, that the reason is he's not going to rest for a minute because he feels like he has a job to fix this country so that his children and grandchildren will live in an America much like his and not like the one that we were hurtling towards during the Joe Biden years. And I think it just motivates him every day when he sees a young person, when he sees a soldier in the military at an event. He wants them to be living in the sort of country that he was able to grow up in and prosper in, and he didn't believe we were on that course until he took over. And so it just keeps him chugging every day. It is amazing. He has the energy of a 20-year-old, and that's why he gets so much done on a daily basis.
True, and he really wanted to win in 2016. I think he was surprised he did, but he wanted to win. But he really wanted this one. He sat there in Mar-a-Lago for 4 years and watched Biden destroy this country, destroy it. And he's like, I got to get back. He has no other reason than the love of country. The guy gets shot at, arrested, indicted. They take his money. He loves this country. John, he talked to him. He sat there for 4 years. I met him a couple of times just waiting for this opportunity.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And he understood that it was a narrow window to save America before it really hurtled towards where Europe is today. Look at Europe. It hardly resembles a Western civilization anymore. Same thing with Canada, hurtling towards socialism on a daily basis, suppressing its people, blocking their donations, tracking their donations. That's not Western society. And I think he realized that if he could save America, America could save the rest of Western civilization as we knew it. And I think that's what motivates him. You're right. He's taken on more aggravation than someone at his age and his wealth and his success needs to take on at this age. But I think it's just personal for him. Listen, on the stuff I do personally, I work on the weaponization and try to help people understand just how bad the intelligence community acted and how bad the law enforcement. He says to me, I don't care about myself. I've been through that. I don't want a future president to be hampered the way I was. So he's always looking forward. He's thinking about the America he's leaving behind. It's fascinating because a lot of times you think, well, he's got to be upset the FBI did this to him. Yeah, he is. But his motive now is, I just don't want it to happen to a future president. And I find that so fascinating that his gaze, his view is always at the horizon. What comes next for America? And that's an insight that you can only get when you get a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, you're right. And I believe it. Even the Grand Ballroom, I mean, it has nothing to do with him. If we're lucky, if we get it built, he may be able to enjoy that for about 4 months. I mean,
That's
4 months.
That's
right. So all these new presidents, many of whom you have to imagine will be Democrats, they'd be the ones enjoying this beautiful, posh way to treat people from other countries and possibly save a president's life, and yet they call him selfish. It has nothing to do with him. Maybe 4 months. I want to get to China, though, John, because there seems to be a back and forth. Is this a trip about Trump pulling Xi by his ear into another room and saying, if you don't stop providing Iran with weapons, I'm really going to hurt you? Or is it about, hey, I've got Tim Cook right there. Look, Elon Musk is right there. I've got 17 of our brightest and best CEOs. Let's do some business. Which one is it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's a carrot and there's a stick, and some of the stick may be administered after the meeting if he doesn't get what he wants. Listen, China can't survive without access to American markets. It does not have a middle class to sell its wares to, and it could lose access, even if it lost a little access to the stock market, if it lost just a little access to the American marketplace, its economy would go into a tailspin. And so that is the big stick he carries. Now, President Trump's demeanor in these meetings is always to be positive, always to have frank discussions, but make it clear, hey, I could sanction China tomorrow for illicitly providing weapons to a rogue nation, Iran, and good luck getting in our marketplace. And the American people would be with me if I told them what you sent over, what you were contemplating sending over. So do you really want to go down that path? And, Xi, for all of his rhetoric and for all of his communist tendencies, he's pragmatic at the end of the day. And I think that President Trump is going to be candid, dangle the opportunity for future cooperation with America, but be clear, hey, you're going to become a war enemy in America, an economic war enemy, if you keep up what you're doing with Iran. Iran is not worth jeopardizing China's future for. Let's get them off the table, and let's focus on this. And that's the sort of deal-making I think he would do. I think there's a similar conversation that's been going on for months with Vladimir Putin. I think Vladimir Putin this past week has signaled that, maybe this war thing with Ukraine's getting old. It's not going anywhere. So if you could get those two, number 2 and number 3 superpowers in the world to play ball nice on Iran, you make Iran go away, and then each of them has an opportunity to engage more constructively with the United States. And I think that's the big chess game that President Trump's playing. It's hard to do. These guys are wily. They're often dishonest. But I think he has the ultimate stick. You want access to the marketplace? You're going to start playing nice with us. No more looking the other way. And I think that's the message that he'll deliver in private. Publicly, I think he'll be jovial, and then we'll see what he comes back with. He'll give us an honest assessment when he comes back.
This is the great John Solomon, really terrific. And you're right. I think, Trump laid it out that way yesterday. You just did it again. Yeah. I think you're right. I'm not sure he'll have any success because I don't trust the Chinese. I certainly don't trust the Russians. But I think he's going to do his best. And if anybody can do it, it's him. People say to me yesterday, they go, he's on his way to China. What's going on with Iran? Last I checked, the Hormuz, the Strait is still an issue. There were 4 levels down, but there's still a bunch of animals running that country. Last I checked, we still have not gotten that enriched uranium out. What the hell's going on? What's the answer to that, John?
Well, the answer is right now his best bet in sparing lives and military money and military equipment is to just stranglehold Iran. The economy in Iran is teetering. It cannot afford to have its oil wells start overflowing and burst. And so they're out of capacity. In some cases, they're dumping oil in the ocean short term to just keep the oil wells from having to be capped. He knows that is a sand clock that Iran can't survive, and so he's just being patient. He doesn't react to their rhetoric. He doesn't react to their little antagonizations. If they really want to start a larger conflict, I think he'll rain heck down. I think he'll unleash some of the laser weapons that we have that we don't currently use, and he'll create a shock and awe moment to show Iran you're really nothing. But at this moment, I think he thinks the patience of strangling them economically is probably going to lead both them and China. Keep in mind, there are 2 other people suffering downstream from the blocked Hormuz. One is China. It ain't getting its cheap oil from Iran right now. And the other is Russia. It's not getting its cheap drones that it was using to fight Ukraine. And Ukraine has made some pretty significant advances in the war the last few weeks. I mean, for the first time, you're seeing Ukraine making some gains because Russia's out of some of the drones. And so both those big players have an incentive to come and get Iran into a better negotiating position. I think President Trump is playing the patient game rather than just let missiles fly and keep beating them into smithereens. Let the economy, the economic salt clock wind down, because if they cap those wells, Iran won't have an economy for 5 to 10 years.
I know you got 2 minutes. You got to run here, John, but I got to talk about Mamdani for a second. You're in this city, and he's such a liar. On top of being an anti-Semite, an anti-American, anti-cop, communist, socialist, he's a liar. I mean, this budget that he came out with yesterday, he didn't meet any needs. He hasn't closed any gaps. He begged the governor. She's just as bad. She's a liar, too, and no good. She gives this guy $8 billion. You actually read the budget I Morano on earlier this morning. There's nothing there. He hasn't closed anything significantly, and yet he's on the front of the newspaper. Look what I've done. And the story right above him system has a bunch of masked people, John Solomon, in Brooklyn terrorizing little Jewish kids outside a synagogue. What kind of liar, what kind of city is this guy running?
I've said this from the beginning. I think Mamdani will turn out to be America's greatest prize to freedom, because after people live under him for 8 to 10 months, they are going to crave the sort of freedom that they had before this guy ran in. Communism and socialism have never worked in America, and putting it in the capitalist city of the world, the capitalist capital of the world, will only make the contrast so dramatic. I think in 8 or 10 months, socialism's movement in America will have hit a blunt force called the Mamdani failure. I've always said that. I've just sort of felt, as tragic as it is to watch the great city of New York fall into the hands of a socialist, it may be the greatest learning moment that two young generations that were told socialism's good by their crazy teachers are going to have, which is, wait, he destroyed the city in a year. I think that that's the course that we're on, and he'll actually do a favor for American history, though for himself he'll be a fool when he's done. But I think that's where he's headed.